The Night Before Freedom, a Juneteenth Story. Words by Glinda Ahmed, pictures by Corey Barksdale. In The Night Before Freedom, 8-year-old David and his family gather at Grandma's house for a cherished family tradition, Grandma's annual retelling of the story of Juneteenth. Grandma tells her story of anticipation, emancipation, and jubilation, just as it was told to her many years before by her own grandmother, Mom Bess. As the 6-year-old, Bess had experienced the very first Juneteenth. Before that day, she could only imagine what liberty would look like. But once freedom arrived, would it live up to a little girl's dreams? The Night Before Freedom, a Juneteenth Story. Is Grandma going to tell the story? I asked Dad as the last float in the parade passed by. She sure is, David, said Dad. It wouldn't be Juneteenth if she didn't. I can't wait, I said. We had come to celebrate Juneteenth with our relatives in Galveston, Texas. All day there had been parades and speeches and lots of food and music. It was a time to remember June 19th, 1865, the day when the news of the Emancipation Proclamation arrived in Galveston. Now my family was gathered at Grandma's house. Aunts, uncles, and cousins were waiting for her to tell the story of the first Juneteenth, when her grandmother, Mom Bess, was only 6 years old. Grandma still remembered the story just the way Mom Bess used to tell it. At last, Grandma eased into her rocking chair. It was time. We kids rushed over and sat on the floor around her. Everyone, young and old, hushed as Grandma got a faraway look in her eyes and began. "'Twas the night before freedom, and all through the South, long whispered rumors had spread word of mouth. It's coming, I heard people say. Emancipation is coming our way. Freedom was something that I'd never seen. What would it look like, and what would it mean? A rainbow, said some, would appear sea to sea, and then we'd sprout wings, and we'd fly away free. While Mama and Papa slept soundly in bed, visions of liberty danced in my head. The very next day was the 19th of June. Freedom arrived at the stroke of high noon. It came on a horse, just as simple as that. A stranger approached with a tip of his hat. Hear ye, he cried, and we knew right away. Somehow we knew that today was the day. He held up a scroll as we gathered around. Some left behind tools they had dropped on the ground. At first I stood still as the man slowly read. Then I trembled with joy at each word that he said. People of Texas, by this proclamation, you are hereby informed of your emancipation. This involves absolute equality. You are now henceforth and forever free. As the man on the horse read the words on the scroll, a burden seemed lifted from each tired soul. I heard singing and shouting and cries of, "We're free!" There was hugging and dancing, a true sight to see. Papa swept Mama right off her feet, then spun me around as my heart skipped a beat. But no rainbows appeared. No one took to the sky. I could not understand, so I asked Mama why. Bess, Mama said, smiling, we're not taking flight. Freedom means claiming our God-given right to work for ourselves and to learn and to play, to own our own land and to have our own say. The words that she spoke were so simple and clear. I now understood what made freedom so dear. I wouldn't trade all of those wonderful things for a bright-colored rainbow or gossamer wings. The rider set out for another plantation, and no doubt to witness a new celebration, while we newly free had decisions to make. Where would we go, and what road would we take? Mama and Papa planned all through the night. I knew from their words that our future looked bright. They were happy and hopeful and serious too. So I fell asleep knowing my dream had come true. Papa kept plowing the red Texas clay. He worked hard as ever, but now received pay. We bought our own land and our family grew. In good times and bad times, our love saw us through. We enjoyed all the things that true liberty brings. I learned reading and writing, and that gave me wings. And as I look back, I am still filled with awe and still dream of things that I heard and I saw. I see all the dancing and hugging and tears, but now in my mind's eye, a rainbow appears. And spanning the rainbow, our words all can see. We are now henceforth and forever free. Afterward, on September 22nd, 1862, in the midst of the Civil War, President Abraham Lincoln signed a preliminary Emancipation Proclamation. It declared that if the Southern states did not cease their rebellion by January 1 of 1863, all enslaved persons within the rebellious states would be then, henceforth, and forever free. When the Southern states continued their rebellion, President Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, effective New Year's Day, 1863. However, people in Texas did not receive the news of their emancipation until 2.5 years later. On June 19, 1865, Major General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas, and read General Order Number 3. The people of Texas were informed that in accordance with a proclamation from the executive of the United States, all slaves were free. This involved an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves, and the connection heretofore existing between them becomes that between employer and hired labor. 6 months later, all enslaved persons in the United States were emancipated with the adoption of the 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution on December 6, 1865. Nevertheless, June 19, 1865, the date the news of freedom arrived in Texas, has been celebrated for many years in states to commemorate the end of slavery. In 1979, June 19th, became a state holiday in Texas. On June 17, 2021, President Joe Biden signed a law making Juneteenth a federal holiday. The Night Before Freedom is also a tribute to The Night Before Christmas by Clement C. Moore. In addition to having borrowed some words and images, I wrote The Night Before Freedom in the same meter as the classic poem, anapestic tetrameter. This is a mouthful. It simply means that the pattern or meter of the poem goes like this: da da dum, da da dum, da da dum, da da dum. For young Bess, I think that looking forward to freedom was much like the anticipation many children feel when they are waiting for a special day like Christmas.